Yes. Who's that? Ankur, all set? He's with so the car seat. Volunteer? Is she a volunteer? Okay.
It is an honor and privilege to welcome Mr. Nikhil Wangale to Vidyalamkar School of Information Technology for Madhyam, the Journalism and Mass Media Conclave, which will serve as a platform for transferring knowledge to the future generation of media and mass communication.
The main idea behind having something like Madhyam is the growing importance and impact of social media on every one of us. Nobody can tell us that because you're a woman, your voice doesn't sound good. Because you're a woman, you're not allowed to be forceful about something. Because you're a woman, you're not allowed to thump your fist on the table and say, I want this. This is justice.
Running from here to there is not important. Reaching there and reaching there is important. Who comes before, who reaches afterward doesn't matter.
I'm really happy to know that this is a college that will give you guys equal opportunity. I do think that there is no more direct medium to reach people, okay, inside their ears.
I genuinely feel that the power which the medium of radio has, I'm sorry to say there is no other medium which has that power.
But anybody in this room know this person?
Let the lights be on.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I know that's a very cliche line, but let's start with this line. I thought of starting today's event by saying, please maintain the decorum of the auditorium. I believe I don't have to say that again. On that note, I welcome all the dignitaries, students, and most importantly, the purpose of me being here. I'm not going to anchor the show. I'm going to introduce the two anchors of the event, and it's a very proud moment as the teacher of these two students. If you know, BMMC has two specialization, that is advertising and journalism. So I give you the first host, Miss Yukta Golab, who is from TY BMMC Journalism, and Miss Priyal, who is from TY BMMC Advertising. So please welcome amidst all this cheering, the two anchors of Maadhyam 2022.
Good morning, Suprabhat, Namaste, Adab. I, as ma'am introduced, am Yukta.
And I am Priyal.
And we are your hosts for the day. And we welcome you all to Vidyalankar School of Information Technology.
Hey Yukta, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You sound very excited.
I am, so do you.
Of course I am. Let's not keep the audiences waiting and let's reveal what are we so excited about. It is Maadhyam 2022, a media conclave. Now let me break it down to you all what Maadhyam is all about. Maadhyam क्या है? माध्यम एक जरिया है जो एक एंड से दूसरे एंड तक बातें, emotions, knowledge, innovations, experience पहुंचाता है. Well, Maadhyam is a conclave of journalism and mass media, serving as a platform to transfer knowledge to future generations. This conclave actually brings together an array of academicians, researchers, activists, and artists under the same roof to share their findings and innovations, and of course, experiences in the field of mass communication. Also, let me tell you all, we are back with a bang after 2 long years. So give it up for Maadhyam, you guys.
I would like to call upon our dignitaries, Dr. Mrs. Rohini Kelkar, our principal, Vice Principal, Mr. Vijay Gavde, sir, Mr. Asif Rampurawala, sir, Chief Academics Officer, Dr. Mrs. Lakshmi Kavita, ma'am, to inaugurate the ceremony by lighting the lamp.
Let's start this event on a divine note by evoking the blessings of Goddess Saraswati. I request all to please stand up for the Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता देवै सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्यापहा
I say this with immense pride that this event was completely planned and organized by each and every member of the BA department. We are a department that resonates GQ. What is GQ, you ask? GQ is glamour quotient. Mass media is synonym to creativity, imagination, and persuasion, and the list goes on.
It is my absolute honor to be introducing the principal of VSIT, Dr. Mrs. Rohini Kelkar, ma'am. Needless to say, ma'am has always been the guiding light for all of us, not only academically, but also by giving us the platform to organize such grand event like Maadhyam. I now request ma'am to welcome our speakers and our lovely audience.
Good morning, everyone. And, welcome the dignitaries of the dais right now. I'm actually not a very fit person over here. I like to work from behind. I'm a little nervous when I'm in front of the audience. And that is the reason why I like all the activities of particularly the mass media department, because you're so confident on the stage. So even after so many years of experience in teaching, I get little nervous when I have to talk in front of people like you. I'm very happy to have this event once again after the gap of 2 years. Last year we wanted to have it, then we tried to plan, and then again the government guidelines used to come, and the mass media teachers would say that the students want, and lot of disappointment. But today once again we are all together over here, and the people, the experts, the chief guests, and uh, who have accepted our invitation, and who are ready to come throughout the day for being here for Madhyam. I'm really thankful to them, because that is the idea and behind all these activities which we plan on this campus. We want to give an exposure to our students. We want to give some guidelines to the students, because in next 1 or 2 years they're going to be in the field. They will be on the other side of the table, and we want all of you to learn from the experiences of these dignitaries who are going to be in front of you today. So I wish you all the best for Madhyam 2022 for the whole day, and I'm sure you will take it in the right spirit. You will take maximum what you can from the people who are going to be here in front of you, and I wish you all the best for this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our department is headed by Ms. Anandita Banerjee, ma'am. Her charismatic personality inspires each student and to aspire and achieve their goals. She is quite literally the backbone of the department. Ma'am, I invite you to share a few words with us.
A very, very good morning. Yes, it's a very beautiful day, and I'm slightly emotional. Just now, as Principal Ma'am said, that we were planning and canceling, and yes, coming back after 2 long years. Students, you have to keep this in mind, that the media landscape, it's changing all the time. And the Madhyam 2022, the topic is media then and now. And you are so lucky to, have legends from the world of media coming and talking to you. So today's your day. You interact, you learn and ask questions. Today, the stage is all yours, along with, the stars from the world of media. I will not speak much. It is a great honor, sir, Prakash Baljoshi, sir, to have you amongst us. Kulkarni, sir, who is like a support for us. Mona Serene, ma'am, and all the faculty members and all the students. Let's just enjoy this festival of education, media, and let's take it forward, because media never stops, and media is it's a very, very integral part of our lives. Whether you talk about entertainment, learning, education, and the pandemic also taught us that people can be locked inside, but media never stops. So have a very good time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I am really proud to be introducing one of the most renowned personalities in the field of mass media, Shri Prakash Baljoshi, sir. He's a very patient, soft-spoken person who's multifaceted with 4 decades of experience in journalism, creative writing, and international recognition as an artist. He began his foray into journalism with Marathi newspaper Kesari and settled down in Times of India for 25 years. Sir, मला आताही आठवतं जेव्हा मी लहान होती आमच्या घरी रोज सकाळी केसरी यायचं, and I used to just flip through the pages and everything. His creative writing has a rich background of his vast field experience as a correspondent and uses racy telegraphic styles in narrating his creative writings. He has 3 Marathi books to his credit. Maitrininchi Goshta, which literally translates to a story of a friend, and it is a collection of short stories. Gateway, which explores complexities and contradictions of urban living in Mumbai, and they are accompanied by his sketches. And the award-winning Prakash Baljoshi Yanje Katha. The English translation of this book has been published recently by the Mirror in the Hall, which is published by Ratna Books, and it will also be soon published in French. Along with writing, he has been displaying his abstract work on canvas across many continents, receiving great feedback. His work is very spontaneous and his brush strokes are full of energy, bringing the pictures alive. Sir, I welcome you to VSIT. And our team has also prepared a short snippet for you. Can we have the snippet, please?
Sometimes in my painting you'll see, and you'll wonder whether this is abstract painting of natural forms like mountains, rivers, or trees. And sometimes you'll find that human figures also emerges. Since my childhood, I have been obsessed with rivers, nature basically. And when my words fail, I turn to pencil and brush. And these are all my spontaneous work. It is very difficult to tell what kind of process goes where.
Sir, I call you upon the stage.
Madam Dr. Kelkar and staff of the college and friends. Thank you very much for inviting me to this excellent gathering. As I stood on this dais and lit the lamp, I really realized that I am into a different digital world. I began my career, and actually I was one of the very few first batches of students from Ranade Institute of Journalism. While doing that, I was doing part-time work in Sakar at Kesari. You will be surprised. My seniors used to look upon us as some kind of joke. They used to say that अरे जर्नलिज्म कोई सीखने की बात है, जर्नलिज्म ऐसा कोई स्कूल में जाके सीखने की बात नहीं है. That is something to be practiced and learn by committing mistakes and learning new things from seniors. So we were really taken aback and we wanted to prove ourselves. So we began working very hard and try to score over them by breaking stories. When I say breaking stories, not the kind of stories you see on television every day where they say breaking story and you really break your head to find out what is breaking into it. Those are real stories which nobody knew. Like there was something absolutely new, something absolutely fresh, and not only new, but something connected to the society and something very important development or some information. So as I began my journey in journalism, I was in Marathi newspapers and I met my teacher. I am a student of Mahatma Gandhi High School in a very small place called Igatpuri. It's a tribal area. And my sir, Dhopeshwarkar sir, he came to Pune and I showed him my articles which I appeared in Marathi newspapers. So I thought that he will pat me. On the contrary, he said, "Arey, but that's novel ka hai?" Because it's your mother tongue, so you can write in Marathi. If you want to really do something and show it to the world that you have arrived or you've done something, you must enter into English journalism. That was the kind of inspiration or idea he put into me, and that really brought me to Mumbai city. And I began my career at Free Press. Sorry for talking about myself, but I'm just trying to give you an idea about what kind of ecosystem existed in that time, that is early 70s or late 70s. So I began with Free Press, and during the emergency, I was in Indian Express, where the owner was fighting emergency, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and we used to have work without any news agency. So we had to go and do the kind of legwork we had to do and then get the stories, not depending on either news service or something like that. What I feel is, after looking back, what has changed? Like, you may ask me, you were doing journalism, say, early 70s or 80s, and now you see what is happening in journalism now or media in general. I realize that this is not only media. I can make out that last decade of last century, that is 90s, and the first decade of this century, we have undergone a lot of changes which have really changed our lives. You will not imagine if we used to go and cover some stories or some events in rural area, where we have to go and send telegrams. Like even those days, you have to book a trunk call, and after trunk call, you just give them headline. And after that, you send a telegram. When I joined Times in 85 around, we were using typewriters which were from the Baba Adab ka Zamana, means almost Second World War. Some of the alphabets also used to be B, instead of B, it used to be something else, but our proofreaders used to know what it is. So that kind of environment which we entered. But as we progressed, we realized that there are a lot of changes taking place. For example, earlier editor used to be at his hall, sitting in. Okay. So I'm just telling you how technology changed the way media used to work. Earlier, reporters on the field used to tell editor sitting in his office what is happening, how it is developing. But as television news channels began arriving, and the editor sitting in his cabin used to know much more what is happening around than the reporters in the field. Then he used to call us and tell, "Arey, tum kya kar raha hai? Ye ho raha hai, tum wahan kuch जा नहीं रहे हो." So that kind of how the communication of events and media and messages change. First, in times, they gave us a pager. I don't know whether you have heard the word pager or you have seen the pager, because it also quite often must be more than 2 decades or more than that. So pager used to be a small stick kind of thing which used to put on a belt, and it used to vibrate. When it used to vibrate, then we used to say, "Arey yaar, to be kapda hai, this editor has called us," something like that. So he used to send a message, "Where are you? Go to the fountain. There is something happening." So the pager used to be, then we used to call it as a dog's belt. बोला जैसे dog को belt बना के इधर उधर घुमाते हैं, वैसा this pager is also taking us, like editor is pulling us from one place to another. After that, then we started using mobile. Mobile was just introduced. And mobile, earlier it used to be only text. Like if you remember, I don't know whether you must have seen only visuals, like with photographs, but computer also used to be only text, where there used to be search engines. And if you put Vidyalanka, then they will only roll down stories about Vidyalanka, everything in text. So it took some time to go in for visual kind of expressions. So all these technical changes, I'm telling you, because I realized that all these changes really affected the way journalists used to work. And you have to be attuned to this kind of changes and then adjust yourself. Like there used to come a time when we began thinking that if the news breaking, like suppose Lalu Yadav has resigned today, वो तो मैं टीवी पे दिखाई दे रहा है, so what will I write next day? So I have to adjust my, otherwise I used to just say Lalu has resigned, and the next day when it is used to come in newspaper, people used to get the news from the newspaper, but they are no more depending on newspapers for news. So you have to go behind the news and write about it. So those kind of changes and hurdles and kind of challenges we faced during last 3 decades, and somehow we have, as a print media, we have survived. But I must tell you, instead of just taking you back to what happened and how we were, I realized that what are going to be your challenges now? Tomorrow you are going to enter the media, maybe television or print media or web or whatever it is. So what are going to be your challenges? And to me, as I look back from outside to the media, I realized that your main rival and your main concern will be fake news. because fake news has taken over and affected the mainstream media like anything. Fake news because of technical intervention and new development like so many things like social media, Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp. So please try to understand that people are no more depending on the news media for knowing what is happening, or even for that example, information. For example, I used to read newspaper till this pandemic started. But after pandemic, I have stopped and I have not purchased any newspaper after that. My son, who is also in media, I never saw him reading newspaper. So I used to ask him, "But you are not reading newspaper." He says, "You only stick to your own old habits. I am reading on my mobile." So recently there was a survey in USA where during that famous presidential election where Trump lost, they did survey and they found out that the people don't depend on the main media for knowing or forming their own opinions. 60% of people, they use this social media for knowing what is happening or forming their own opinions. So you will be facing, I mean, it's not only fake media, how it is happening, but it is affecting the credibility of main media, like whether it's a newspaper or a news channel or website news portal. So you should be knowing, or you should, I know that you must be taught also that how to segregate from hard information from fake news. And fake news is also not new term. Please mind. It was invented or it was used the first time in 1860. 1860 they talk about fake news. Because those days the newspaper used to be so much imaginative and they used to be writing used to, anything they used to write under the sun. Even the paper, if you find, I mean, if you take Marathi newspaper from earlier days, 40s or something like that, you will be shocked to know the kind of provocative language and abuses they used to use in their columns. So you have to find, so fake is nothing new, but because of this advent of this new social media, the fake news has become a real danger. Like you tell me, if you see something, if you read in the newspaper or you see in the television also, or you get some information, it will be very difficult to find out whether this is based on facts, this is true information, or it is fake information. So as a new soldiers in the media who will be joining the main newspapers or TV or something, your main job is to first check from where you are getting information and find out whether it is true or false. It's a terrible job. I am telling you, in today's world, today's kind of ecosystem, it's very difficult to find out what is correct and what is true. So you must be equipped with not only attitude, but also with the new technology to find out and check facts. How you do check facts? There are so many ways of doing it. You must be aware also. So you have to see that you do the lot of legwork. Like for example, so many things happen and then you realize that, and today the readers are not merely readers. They have also intervened and they are also supplying news. So as a journalism student, you are not going to be the only people who will be getting information and giving it to the readers. But the readers themselves are empowered. They themselves have got equipment to carry get the information and convey it, and then it becomes viral. And fake news is not merely news made by the politicians, because if you remember, Trump, you must have seen him also during this campaign. So anything against him, he used to say, this is a fake news. Even if you find in our own politicians also, when something against them appears, then they say media is a fake news. Or if some action is taken against them, they say it is politically motivated. They have not stopped only doing that, but they have stopped
spiraling news with something adverse come against them, then they create some news which is totally against it, which is totally false, which is totally fake. And this fake news is being not only used, like there are mechanisms, you must be aware because you're all technologically savvy students, so you know how fake news can become viral. Like there are some people who create those news. Like there is a big industry worth billions of dollars which creates fake news. So it's not merely against somebody like corporate world. Corporate world is still known for doing all this kind of dirty tricks, but they are also using this fake news like anything. So I can imagine that my job was a little easier. Go to the people and talk to them and find out what it is, or go to the government department and check the facts. But it is no more so. The governments have become very closed. They don't share information. And I have realized that wherever the society is polarized, into ideologies or into different thinking, then you will find so many fake news. So you have to face, when you enter your practical world, you will face the fake news. Another aspect which I think I must share with you is advent of technology. So you will have to fight with the technology also, and that you have to find out how to fight. For example, I'll just give my example, like from journalism, I have ventured into art, which was my passion, but now it has become full-time profession. I've been organizing my art shows almost all over the world. So as an artist, I have to face Photoshop. Now, Photoshop has got lakhs of shades of colors. As an artist, I have to create my own color, own shades, which the Photoshop doesn't have. That's the challenge as an artist I'm feeling or I'm facing. So already artificial intelligence has already taken over a lot of jobs which journalists are doing. First, the journalists used to only write stories, and that used to be there. But now, if you see what New York Times is doing with their own journalist, so journalist has become a multitasker. Like he has to not only go to the event, cover the event, but first tweet about the event, then write blog about the event, then do a small video clip and put it on YouTube of that paper or whatever organizer, and then come back to the office or wherever. You don't have to go to office. Wherever you are, write some 300, 500 words story. So your job is become more multitasking and more, I would say, not difficult, but more challenging. So artificial intelligence is already being used. Like earlier, sub-editor used to sub the copy and then used to be reading. Now they no more require sub-editors. There are already newspapers or small tablets, kind of papers in Europe, where the subbing and giving heading is done by the computers themselves, by the program and the algorithm they have developed. So very soon there will not be any need of a person sitting at a desk and editing copies. Of course, we know you must have also faced it. Sometimes the autocorrect, and sometimes the autocorrect does some funny things and you're embarrassed. For example, I will just give you one example how, apart from machines, people also make mistakes. As I was telling, I will not name the newspaper, but I was working in the newspaper. I'm talking about early 70s, and those days they used to keep like photographs you could not use. So, like in art, we do take out prints. Like that, they used to take blocks, and then in a brown paper they used to write name, like Chandrasekhar Kulkarni. So Chandrasekhar Kulkarni's photo will go into that block, will go into that cover, and it will be in a library. So there was a Qawwali program by Bhanu Gopali. So at night they had advertisement about that Qawwali program. So that sub-editor ran away and he wanted that Bhanu photo. So instead of getting that Qawwali singer's photo, Bhanu Karke, he took the photo of his own director and the director's photo was printed as a Kavali program. The whole group was embarrassed next day. So all these kind of things happen. But apart from the autocorrect, there are so many things which you will be facing, and you'll have to work how you make your own presence. So you will have to fight not only your competitor, which we used to earlier do, like I have times when I used to fight with the Indian Express correspondent. But now you will be fighting with the machine. The machine is becoming very powerful. That's how I see in the future. So be prepared to fight with machine. And with few words, I thank you very much. And of course, if you want, because I'm not used to giving lectures or something like that, want to ask anything, you will. Thank you very much.
It was really an honor to hear from you about your experiences from journalism. Thank you so much. And our team would like to felicitate.
Before that, can we have some questions from the audience? Can you hear me? Okay. Any questions you would like to ask? And it was so interesting. I remember these words. It's giving me goosebumps. Machines taking over, our lives. Yes, artificial intelligence. So, any questions from you, please? Sultan, would you take this around? Anybody?
Our team would like to felicitate. Ma'am, can we please have you on stage? Thank you.
तर एक प्रश्न मला होता की मीडियाचे प्रकार खूप वाढले, म्हणजे जर्नलिझम किंवा न्यूजपेपर हे फक्त एकच राहिलेलं नाहीये. तर मुलांनी कुठल्या मीडियामध्ये जावं याच्याबद्दल काही सांगू शकता? कुठल्या मीडियाचा जास्ती वापर केला जातो?
Because and it will be just one of the very small part of the media which will be influencing. So you should be studying and specializing in social media, which is very much. And if you have to join some, then you should join audio visual, television channel or digital or web. And another thing, I mean, from my experience, I will tell you, I mean, just that along with doing journalism or whatever you're doing, have some passion, have something away from your teaching, which will really help you not only in enjoying the life, but at the same time kind of create kind of a safety net, because these days jobs are not coming easily and they're not stable. Like in Times of India one, when we used to enter, people used to enter there and come out after retirement.
Sir, so as a journalism student, what are some tips that you can give us?
See, as a journalism student, you need to have command over language. nowadays language is not merely words. They have become visuals also. Like what I'm talking about or writing about, I must express it in visuals. So you have to be multitasking personality. Like you should know how to handle camera, you should know how to handle internet, you should know how to update, you should know how to go on YouTube and create your own channel. And before, not waiting for your graduation or something like that. And you people are so lucky that you got all the medias which are easily available, which are free of cost. But I don't know how many of you are using it to enhance your career or your interest. You should be doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One personal question. Actually, my daughter, she is 11 years old. She's very much interested in doing painting and sketching on her own interest. So I have taken her to the classes also. She's not interested to go for a classes, but she used to do lot. And sometimes even I find 11 years में वो इतना कर रही है, इतना perfect है. So what is your suggestions to such kind of young students who are on their own interest they are doing? So how can they develop themselves?
Actually, don't send them to any classes.
She is not willing.
No, because what happens is you send them to classes and they will teach you what is to be done in some formats.
Yeah.
Like as you look at it, leave her to do what she likes and generate her own creativity. And it's very difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to be real painter. An artist, like you can be commercial artist and then you can survive, you can get jobs. But if you really want to be an artist, painter, it's very difficult. So let her do what she wants. And at the same time, let her also complete her academic education and see if she can get something. If she's too much interested, then send her to art college or something like that, fine arts. But don't tell her anything now. Just give her whatever material she wants, like paper, paint, or pencil, or something like that, and just leave it to her.
No, that's what she's doing. Her focus is she has to complete a certain degree. Everything is she decided. But whenever she frees, she used to do lots of painting and sketching. And sometimes I found the industry people what they need for dress designing. Everything she used to do in this age. So that's why supposed to develop her skill. So what she can refer.
Yeah, she can. Then if she is doing that, then she can join some class for fashion design, where you require a stick kind of design. Like when there is a design, then you have to learn. If it is a creative painting or artist, then it's other way around. If she has liking for fashion or some other area or interior design or something like that, then she should join some class and study and then further her career in that particular area.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. Sir, I had this one question. What does like contemporary art, like how is contemporary art an art? Like what makes it an art?
Contemporary art is art which takes into consideration existing ecosystem, social, political, nature, as well as whatever happening in technology. As I said, technology intervention is not merely into journalism, but it's also into art. Because if you remember, or if you know, I mean, might be knowing also, there's something called NFT, non-fungible tokens. So people have already started using new technology, and the way art is perceived is also being changed. It's not merely art on canvas or art on paper, but people are going in for installation. People are using the new technology to express themselves. That is what is contemporary.
I had a question. You talked about tackling fake news, or fake news can come from powerful entities, or that governments have now become more secretive. Once, if you have found, according to you, according to after you have done your research and you have found out this is the truth, and if you have to write about it or if you have to speak up about it, but if you're facing censorship or if you're facing powerful entities going against them, can be a difficult challenge if you're a journalist. uh, what does one do in that situation, or does one compromise on his ethics or morals? Do they have backing from their agencies or the organizations they are a part of? How does one face that if you know the truth and if you want to report on it, but you know that you're going up against people that are way more powerful than you can ever be?
See, in journalism, that is also very essential to have personal integrity. And for example, like I'm not OCU's grade, but we have worked when there was emergency. So during emergency also there were people and there were newspapers like Indian Express where I was working. We used to write stories. And I can understand if government is secretive about something or is hiding something. Your job as I was telling, the legwork is very important. And you don't have to go and do many very big things. Even if you do some small thing like there's some scheme where there is a lot of corruption taking place. But you have to go to just go to some village or some small town, go yourself, find out. People will talk, collect some data. I mean, it will be a small, short story, but it will affect. And you can do it. And that's it. And unless you have that kind of courage or ability to stand up, then you will be good for advertising, not for journalism. That's my personal view. I'm not offering it.
So since you said that there's a lot of fake news and everything going on, so in today's world, there's also digital media, and it's almost like a rat race. So if you try to pursue the actual truth, you get left behind and like it becomes stale news. But if you try to pursue like what's new, you also may not publish what's real or genuine news. So in that case, what should be done? Like, should you pursue the true news or something that is very fresh, like very new?
That is what is the actual idea behind breaking news. So, and ultimately, it is how you think about the story, what you follow, what you do, what are the issues close to your heart. And if you follow that, and of course, there are many restrictions or many directions from the organization for which you are working, but you should be finding out something new and not just new what you think is new, but something which is affecting, which is close to society, or some issues which is affecting more people. Now, what is the criteria for a good news or a news impact? I would consider any news which really affects large number of people. It's a real news. Like I can write something about some issue which might be only affecting 10 people, some small group of people. So you have to think what should be done and how you should pursue your stories or write about it.
Hello, hi. So most of the fake news that is generated is mainly, it's an algorithm that works because the audience want to see something like this. That's why it's generated. It's also the numbness of us as an audience, as public, that we don't like. I remember when in my childhood when a big celebrity was assassinated, we were terrified. Today we hear about 100 people getting killed. Unless it's in thousands, it doesn't move us that much. Probably we don't really want to see it. Like 2 people got killed on the border. We become numb to it. One soldier was killed. We don't react to it. We don't respond to it. But 100 people were killed, 500 people were killed, and we suddenly pay attention to it. So how do we change that, or how do we accept that, and how do we maneuver ourselves around this numbness and this algorithm, because it is driven by the public? So what is your take on that?
Because see, fake news become viral because people like you and me keep on not only reading it but to react to it. something in which I believe, or whatever, like ideology or my religion or my culture, my language or my family, whatever. So if it's called as positive confirmation. If I find something, I'm not knowing whether it's true or, and there is nothing true or false also. It's just a statement. But because it's a positive confirmation for me, I transmit it, and like that it becomes viral. Because there is something which I believe, then I want others to also believe. All this fake news and all this algorithm, they are created and generated after a lot of research. Like even in the advertising arena, they do deep research before they take on some advertising campaign. Or even this fake news is also not that simple. Like they think. Like for example, I'm going back to American presidential election, where there are teams of people, all PhDs and really people who have done research in psychology, sociology, politics, and then they decide which is the issue which is important and which people. Then they segregate society also, and accordingly they just put them out, and it is then followed by. So it's very difficult. I'm not saying there is any solution. Absolutely, yeah, it's a hazard, and that's how we have to face. And then, and for example, each and every society and country has their own way. For example, if you see even in the democracy, as well as in some autocratic countries where some despots they rule the country, all of them are saying that there must be some kind of self-regulation in social media, or some laws which will put some restrictions so that it will not affect the social fabric of the country. So a lot of things are being worked out.
Thank you very much, everyone. Those questions were fantastic. Thank you, sir. It was indeed an honor to learn from your experiences. We look forward to learn from you more. Can we have a principal, ma'am, to felicitate, sir? I am excited and thrilled to be introducing our next speaker for today. Someone who is extremely talented, handsome, hardworking, smart, and fantastically amazing. And guys, the list goes on. It is none other than Mr. Adinath Kothare. Can we use... Okay. Ma'am, can we... Can I give an introduction first? Mr. Adinath Kothare is an Indian award-winning actor, producer, and director. His directorial debut film, Pani, won the National Award for the Best Feature Film on Environment at the 66th National Film Awards and has won him the Best Actor Award at the New York Indian Film Festival. He made his acting debut as a child actor in 1994 hit film Maza Chakula, which won him several awards, including the Maharashtra State Award for the Best Child Actor. The story of Adinath sir's success goes on with his films like Zapat Leela 2 and Avtarachi Goshta, which were highly appreciated at the box office. Avtarachi Goshta won many awards. As a film producer, Adinath sir has produced movies like Zapat Leela 2, the first ever Marathi true 3D film, which we also saw him in as the lead role on the television forefront. Sir is a successful television producer as well and has produced several TV shows under his own production company, Kothari Vision Private Limited. Some of these super successful shows include Jai Mallar, Ganpati Bappa Moria, Vitu Mauli, Ek Hoti Rajkanya, and many more. Even his films like Chandramukhi, 83, or series like Criminal Justice are a few of his many recent notable works. We also saw him starring in a Marathi thriller series called 100 Days, which aired on Z Marathi in 2016. And to be honest, it is my absolute favorite. So I just want to tell you, being from a Maharashtrian family background, माझ्या घरी तर routine झालेला to watch Jai Mallar, and we absolutely loved those serials. Thank you so much for entertaining us. Also, sir, our team has made a snippet for you. We would like to. Yes, can we have the snippet, please?
मला हवी आहेस तर तू पूर्ण हवी आहेस नाहीतर नको
ये काय म्हणालीस तू घाबरत विपरत नाही मी कोणाला आत्ता जाऊन बोलतो तुझ्या बापाशी
नेमका कोण आहेस तिथे गुलाब की गोची
बोलक्या फुल्यांचा खेळ करणाऱ्या कलाकाराचं रक्त माझ्या नसा नसात सळसळतंय
असं कसं चालतं मला हवंय बंधन लग्नाचं
कान मुकुट और एक हाथ बाकी लगता ज्या गोष्टी शास्त्राने सिद्ध होत नाही त्यावर माझा विश्वास नाही
I now request our principal ma'am to felicitate Adinath sir.
Just a small information. Most of the things in the hamper have been created by our students. They have painted, they have made chocolates, they have done a lot of things because they were so excited to welcome the dignitaries. So well done, students. I think you will love it.
Hi. Hello. Okay, by the way, thank you so much for such a generous introduction. Thank you so much. You guys are really sweet and so creative. My God, I mean, that AV was a professional job. Whoever's done this, hats off to you guys. Everything. It's the hampers, the entire arrangement. You guys are already ready for the world, it seems like. But amazing. This is the second time I'm coming here. I think I came here around 3 years back. It's always nice to be here. Okay, so I've not prepared any formal speech or anything. I want to be more interactive with you guys. You guys can ask me whatever you want, and I'm ready to help you. About me, where do I start? Okay, so as a student, when I was like you, I was absolutely clueless. You're far more sorted, I think, than me. So I wanted to get into the creative field. I knew, but that time I'm a TY. I'm a 2005 pass out. So that time we didn't have major university courses of film related or media related. PMM, mass media courses, everything came later. So I had interest in medical sciences because my father was, I'll tell you how random, how scattered I was. So I had interest in medical sciences. So I gave my MHCT for medical. I cleared it. I was going to get into BDS, but I wanted MBBS, but then it was a paid seat. So my dad asked, "Na paise dekhi idhar hi aane wala hai, to what's the point of doing that? So then I didn't do that. I did biotechnology. I did my bachelor's in biotechnology from Ruia. Then after that, I did my MBA from MET Bandra, MBA in finance. And the funny part was, so I was in a lecture of financial management. I was sitting in the lecture and there's a professor was introducing everyone. He came to each student and asked, what have you done? What have you done? He came to me and I said, I've done my bachelor's in biotechnology. He spent the next 5 minutes praising me, like how this boy and this field is going to rule the next 10 years. And then he came and asked me, so what is your work experience? So like, I work as assistant director. The dreams were shattered. But no education is wasted, That's one thing I've learned. Nothing you learn. Science has given me a beautiful scientific outlook towards life, towards everything I do. I have a very practical approach. You have a very observation, procedure, inference approach in life you get. You tend to deal with life problems in a much sorted way. That's what I feel. That's what I've taken away from science. But then I started working. I worked first with British Nandi Communications. I was working there as associate executive producer. I used to travel by Churchgate fast from Kandivali, and I used to come back by Virar fast. Nothing was happening there, and I was only traveling and floating in the trains in the rush hour traffic. But so I got bored of it finally. And then I worked with Walkwater Media, the Manmohan Shetty company. I was working as a business analyst. I was studying the time sheets and everything. I was learning on the job. So, and I was learning, I was unlearning. And that's the beauty of it, I think, I think learning is the best part of life. And I think we should always remain a student. I think what was really inspiring for me right now is Prakash ji, you're really truly inspiring. A man who's been there for 40 years, and yet he knows what is happening today. He knows about NFTs. He knows about all the technology and what's happening today, because he is a student. He looks like a student who's constantly absorbing, and that is what you need to be, I think. And I think that is what you need to dream of, to remain a student, to keep the creativity, to keep the hunger, to keep that fire burning for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter where you reach, where you don't reach, just enjoy the journey. Because there are going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a rough road. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. But as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, you have that hope of reaching somewhere and you're enjoying that journey, that's all you need here. That's what's going to give you a sound sleep. That's what's going to give you happiness. That is what happiness is the journey. Happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. That's why it's called Pursuit of Happiness. That's what we learned in that film also. So yeah, so then I started working. I worked with Walkwater Media, then I stepped out and I produced my first serial with my dad, was Manudhan Varese, as a producer. And in spite of, it was a first television show, and the first time we were dealing with corporates. I'm just going to talk randomly. I'm going to tell my journey because I think that's what I can share best. Yeah. So, and one thing I realized that time, so we had a very hard time when we produced our first television show, because we were dealing with the corporates for the first time. And though we had a lot of creative freedom as filmmakers, we realized in the corporate world, you don't get that creative freedom. I think Prakash ji will know what I'm talking about. You don't get that creative freedom. Creative freedom is something you have to earn over a period of time. And you may earn it, you may not earn it. Even if you earn it, there is going to be someone influencing it, someone trying to barge in their creative ideas, and you have to be collective and you have to take in everything. So since I came from the film background, we were very used to making films our way. Like my father was very used to making film his way, and he had a very clear vision, and he used to not like any interference in his work. So he was he came from a different school and he had to adapt. And at that age, he was probably in his 50s. And I saw him adapt. I was with him. I was like a kid. I was still in college, still learning stuff. And I used to attend the channel meetings with him. And I could see him adapt. There was a lot of resistance. The channels, the EPs, there are some young mass media students, forgive me, I'm going to say this, but young mass media students who come and sit in that position. And sometimes it so happens because you're in that position, you feel some power bestowed upon you, which is there. But with great power comes great responsibility. Remember that. So, and I've seen that power being misused to a great extent. And that is very ugly. It's just, so what we experienced was these young girls who were guys and girls who were the EPs over there on the shows. And they used to just give feedbacks, constantly giving feedbacks and trying to slow the process. They were doing it not to just harm us, but they were doing it for their KRA. So when you join a corporate, then there's this system called KRA where you have to show in a week to your bosses, like, what have you done? What have you done today? You got an episode. What did you do in that episode? So just to show that I've done some work, you will give some feedback. Like, nahi, ye curtain yellow nahi, ye curtain pink chahiye. And that is very regressive. So, but yes, of course, I've seen some good side also. There have been later on, as we gained experience, we met people. I think when you gain experience, people also, the perspective of looking at you also changes for people, and then you come on common ground, and then your opinions are respected. It gets a little more weightage. So creative freedom is something that you earn with your experience on the job. So it is something that you'll get there. Sometimes it might give you frustration. I'm not getting to do what I want. I'm not getting to write what I want. I'm not getting to make what I want. It's just so contrived and everything. But it's a process. You just, I think, need to keep a balance. You need to keep a balance of that. One thing also that I've learned is you can't grow, or you cannot become successful alone. You need to take everybody with you, and that's when you grow. Sometimes that's where people go wrong, and that's where sometimes an industry goes wrong, where everybody wants to become big on their own. They don't want to collectively make the industry big. So always think of the bigger picture, and that is when you will actually grow. These are the few experiences I had in the early stages of my career. And then acting, I had acted as a child actor in '94. So acting ka kida to rehta, once it's like when a tiger tastes blood, it's like human blood. It becomes a man eater, it's like that. So that acting kida was there, and in our journey that time, my dad stumbled upon a script. It was a beautiful script, and we were not finding the main lead. We found the heroine. We were not finding the main lead. It was my first film, Vedla Vijay, 2010. So we were not finding the hero, and whoever we were trying to cast that time were just not falling the place, the budgets, this, that. It was not falling in place. So he just asked me, do you want to audition for this? I'm like, yeah, why not? And I auditioned for it. And I got and the producer also liked it. And I was very hatta-katta that time. I was at chubby cheeks, and the character was of a garage mechanic. So I had to transform myself. I lost around 10 kilos for that. Got myself tanned and everything. And I did that film. It was my first film. It's very embarrassing to see it now. Because first work is always, I still can't see my work actually. Even in Chandramukhi also, I cannot sit and watch my work again, because I still feel this is, I could have done better. Oh no, this, I could have done that. But I think, I think feeling that is also important. You should not be too much in love with your own work also. You should appreciate it. You should be happy about it, but don't be too much in love with it. And then my journey as an actor started. My first film didn't release well. It didn't release well at all. It didn't release at all, rather. There was a problem with the producer, and the film was stuck in some legal problems, and because of my father, he managed to release it in a few theaters just for the sake of it. And it was like a Puski bomb to start. And I was like, but I'm very stubborn, you know. I'm like, because that kind of a that it was a kind of a failure for me. That failure I took to my heart, and I was like, "To karke dikhaunga." I'm very stubborn that way. So I think that stubbornness is there in my. I take it from my father actually. So all our bad qualities, you know, a little bit we need them in small doses. It helps us in our life. So then I started my journey as an actor, and I was very bad in the start. I was horrible. I was learning on the job, I'm telling you. I was not very bad. I would have not got work, but yeah, I was, according to me, I was bad. But I started learning. I got my first play. Sorry, I got my first play in 2012. It was All the Best. I was shooting for Satrangire, and Mahesh Manjrekar happened to call me like, Adinath, I'm doing this play called All the Best. The musical is the famous play. All the Best is a very popular play. It's been done in around 20 languages. Around 5,000 shows have been done. The original cast was Sanjay Narewkar, Ankush Chaudhary, and Bharat Jadhav. And I was like, yeah, I would love to. And that play was a turning point for me. It was a turning point for me. Because I think I realized what it takes to become an actor or an artist when I was on the stage doing theater. First thing, it started breaking were my inhibitions. I think today I realize this, but that journey started that time. I didn't know exactly what is happening to me, but you know, to be an artist of any form of artist, be a writer, a journalist, an actor, a painter, a producer, a director. I think your growth of an artist, the growth, correct me if I'm wrong, sir. I'm too junior person to be speaking of these things in front of you, but I'm speaking from my experience. But I think a growth of an artist happens when you start losing your inhibitions. Every time you lose your inhibitions, you are growing. And sometimes it takes a lifetime to just lose it all. Sometimes it happens. You know, it's fun to see a tiger in the forest when you go for a safari. How many of you gone for a safari? Have you seen a tiger in the wild? Yeah. And you prefer watching a tiger in the wild to prefer watching it in the zoo? Am I right? Yeah, in the wild. No? So that's because in the wild, the tiger is in his own elements. He is uninhibited. He is absolutely naked self, honest, naked self, standing there, walking there. And you are the one who's in the cage, in the car, and you are looking at him over there. And that tiger looks very appealing to you. He looks sexy to you. He looks like, wow, it's because he's uninhibited. I think even the greatest stars today, like Shah Rukh Khan, or Salman Khan, some of them may not be great actors, but we still love them, right? We like, wow, yaar, usne ye dialogue bola. I think it's because they are uninhibited. I think they are just their naked selves. They may be a little, sometimes some may be over the top, some maybe they have their own style. Rajesh Khanna, all. We love them, right? I think it is because they are uninhibited. They have lost all inhibitions, and they are the naked self in front of you. When in front of the camera, they may be whoever they want to be outside and not in the camera, but when they're in front of the camera, they are themselves. That is what an artist should strive for, I feel. Rather, that is what I keep striving for, that to be my pure, honest self. And it's not easy. It's very difficult. It is the most difficult thing in the world to lose inhibitions. So yeah, so that journey is continuing. And then after the play, I started getting movies, and with every movie, I feel I kept improving because I started realizing what I need to work on after doing theater. Lost the inhibitions, that started working on my diction, yeah, I think theater was a turning point for me. And from there, I found the direction which I need to go in as an actor, as an artist. And I've been traversing that road right now, trying my best. And I did a movie then. I did a movie called Zapat Leela 2, 3D. That film was a blockbuster. It was a hit. But I'll be very honest with you. It was a hit, A, because Tata Vinsu, he's a brand, right? And it's a franchise. So त्या project ची पुण्याई होती थोडी. And the film was entertaining and stuff like that. Because of that film, I started getting a lot of offers. And I got many film projects after Zapat Leela. And I was young. My understanding of content was also very young. I was not really, I didn't have the understanding what I have today. And I did films left, right, center that time, thinking that, this will work, this will be a hit. And that was a mistake I did. I think in that 1 year, I did around 5 to 6 films. And more than that, in the 2 years, I did around 7, 8 films. And by the end, and none of them really made an impact on the box office. I got some critical acclaim for Avdaraji Goshta and this and that, but didn't really, it kind of exhausted me as a actor in the trade circuit, in the industry circuit, not for the audience. See, the thing about audience is, audience notice only the good films. If the film flops, it's because they didn't notice it at all. So it's non-existent. So if I did in that year, if I've done 5 films and one of them was a hit, that means for the audience I did only 1 film. So my other films were just, but that affects your credibility in the market as an actor in the industry. And that was a setback for me. This was, I think, 2015 or something. And suddenly I realized I'm not getting the kind of films I want. I'm not getting the kind of work. I'm not drawing the kind of work towards me as an actor. And there was a bit of a lull that came in my life. And I've shifted more towards my other things that I still enjoy doing as a producer. We had just finished doing Jai Mallar. I started focusing on Ganpati Bappa. Vithu Maoli we did. And my first love was always direction. So I thought, right now I'm not getting the kind of work I want. Why not tell a story which I wanted to tell since a lot of that. And I started searching for what do I really want to tell? I started searching for some story, and I felt, water is a very important issue globally. Why not talk about it? So I started doing my research, and I stumbled upon a story of this common man called Hanuman Kendre from the Nagdarwadi village in Nanded district. So nobody used to give their daughters in marriage in that village because the people over there had to walk 4 kilometers every day to fetch water. Accidentally, his engagement happened with one girl from Nanded. But as soon as they found out, oh, this girl is from Nagdarwadi, this guy is from Nagdarwadi, they called off the engagement, they called off the marriage. This guy was shattered because, say, muh ke andar niwala bhi aa raha aur chhin liya. Like it was because he was no matter what, he was in love with it. It was like a love at first sight for him. And he wanted to marry her. So he went to her, he went to that lady and he told her, ki मला तुमच्या बरोबरच लग्न करायचं आहे. पण मी तेव्हाच लग्न करीन जेव्हा माझ्या गावात पाणी येईल. He said, I want to marry you, but I'll marry you the day there is water in my village. Will you wait for me? And what happened is the film. Today that village has water around the year. It supplies water to its neighboring 4 villages. That man had a mineral water plant in the village. It went. So I think love can be so inspiring. It can really drive people to do the unthinkable, the most unimaginable. And I thought this is an inspiring story and I should be told. And I started the journey of setting up that film. My dad always tells me, and it's a life mantra for me. It's like, chalti gaadi mein sab chadte hai, ruki hui gaadi mein koi nahi chadta. So just start your car. That's why I started setting up this project. And then Priyanka Chopra liked the story. She came on board. I struggled with the script also a lot because it was not a regular out and out masala film. It was a very true, a very realistic story, yet a love story. And the film happened, and then I came back from the shoot. I got 83. I had grown a mustache, so I was called for audition at Mukesh Chabra. I had gone for an ad film audition. I went over there, and there was Vaibhav. He saw me and he's like, "Ye kya huliya bana rakha hai?" I was tanned and all. I had just shot for Pani, 45 degrees in Nanded. I was looking like Hanuman Kendra. I had played the part also. I directed also. And he's like, "Shit, this look will not match here. I'm sorry." So I was rejected at that point. But he said, "Hey, one second. I think this look might suit something I'm doing. Aja." So he took me into a cabin and he showed me a video clip of Dilip Vensarkar talking on stage. And he's like, "Can you emulate the way he's talking?" And like, "Okay, fine. What is it?" So it's a film called 83. What is that? I had no clue what it is. It's a film on the 83 World Cup. Oh, and I want to test you for Dilip Vensarkar. Sure. And who else is it? Ranveer Singh is playing Kapil Dev. Like, Kabir Khan is directing it. Like, oh, okay. Abhi karta hu main. I did the audition. I went home. That night I got a call from Mukesh Chabra's office. Like, "Adi, are you free tomorrow?" Like, "Yeah, what happened?" "Kabir Khan wants to meet you." Nailed it. So yeah, then 83 happened. 83 happened. That's on 83 set. I met Ilahi Hiptullah, who's Nagesh Kukunur's a close associate, and she saw me, and then she cast me for City of Dreams. And then City of Dreams was applause. Then I got Criminal Justice, and there is more. And so, work gets you work at the end of the day. It's no amount of socializing and partying or anything that's going to get you what you want. It's your work that is going to speak for you, and only your work is going to get you more work. So yeah, that is so far my journey as an actor and a producer and a director. So I'm still learning on the job, and let's see where it goes. I just made some pointers, like what else I should speak on. Must be love. But yeah, talking about love, initially what I spoke about creative freedom. I think you all are just hungry with that creativity and you guys want to express. Today, the avenues of expression are so easy. Today, the real star of the media industry, the content industry, is not an actor, it's not anybody else. It is the writer. It is the writer who is, and the writer can come from anywhere. And people are hungry, the global audience is hungry for real stories. It's hungry for honest stories. That's why we are watching content today, like even our grandparents and even our uncles and aunties who used to watch daily soap today are watching international content thanks to the lockdown. And the television was off. There was no daily soaps happening. It was all repeat telecasts was on. So half of the audience shifted to digital, and they realized, oh wow, itna acha content hai. And some of them still stayed along. So yeah, I think we are watching content from across the world in different languages: Spanish, Korean, Israeli. Watching all kinds of language doesn't matter today. It is what the story is. So it doesn't matter today that I think even if your dialect doesn't matter today, your vocabulary doesn't matter today, as long as you are expressing what you want to tell. You can speak in today's lingo, you can speak in your hip hop, rap lingo, whatever it is. As long as you're telling an honest story, people want to listen to it. And the audience is global, not just regional, national. It is a global audience that wants to listen to your honest story. May you be a journalist, a writer, whoever. So yeah, I think it's a great time for content creation, and it's a great time for creativity. Yeah. yes, Prakash, you was saying the information influx is so much today, the fake information, everything. I think maybe, you know, it's just like every other industry. Even the content industry has become a consumer driven industry. You understand? Like other industries had already become, with the economic revolutions that happened, every industry became a consumer driven industry. Content industries also become a consumer driven industry, where the consumers, the audience, is going to decide what he wants to listen, what he wants to read, what he wants to watch. So you have to just lay the content out there. The audience will choose what to believe in, what not to believe in. There will be hundreds of news. ऐसे हुआ, ऐसे हुआ, ऐसे हुआ. Me as an audience will choose which version I want to accept. I think that is going to be the future. That is where we are heading to. I think we are all evolving our moral compass. We are all evolving our minds. Yeah, 10 years, 5 years down the line, I think it will not matter which journalist is blabbering fake news or which journalist is blabbering. We will know. I think the audience has become smarter. They have become smarter because they have become critics now. You see, everyone who watches a movie goes on social media and types a review of his own, right? Because the access has increased. The mystery of filmmaking, content creation has disappeared because you guys understand how it's made now. Not just you, even your maid understands, even your Dudwala understands, even he knows how to make a video. He also knows how to edit it. And so everybody's become smart, intelligent. We have evolved with the technology age, and I think so it is just about evolving. Then I think it's a great time for content creation and writers. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, please.
Hello?
Sir, can I have some water? I spoke a lot here.
तर फिल्म 83 मध्ये तुम्ही दिलीप वेंगसरकरचा रोल प्ले केला, तर तुम्ही ऍज अन ऍक्टर काय काय चॅलेंजेस तुम्ही स्वतः फेस केले, अँड वर्किंग विथ ऍक्टर्स लाईक पंकज त्रिपाठी, रणवीर सिंग, त्यांच्याकडून तुम्हाला ऍज अन ऍक्टर काय काय शिकायला मिळालं?
It was the most difficult. It was the biggest learning experience of my life for me, because it was a ensemble cast, and every actor there was a star of his own space and right and origin. When you're working on a film as a solo lead or something, you are comfortable, right? It's your own space, it's your film, it's your track. But when you're sharing space with other actors, that's where the real metal of you is tested. It's like akhade mein aana. It's like, because an actor is a very insecure person. An actor is a attention seeker. There's a saying by one famous writer who says, if you're not, an actor is not interested if you're not talking about it. So he is a egocentric, insecure, and a greedy person, that actor. And that actor in me also is. But I'm more of a producer and a director. So I always I don't actually, that's maybe it has an advantage and disadvantage actually. I don't give too much actor in me. If I had given too much importance of an actor in me, I would have just made remakes of my father's films and, been a star today, a bigger star, what I am right now. That was very easy, na? Remake karo, remake karo. But I think I'm more of a producer where I look at things today, what today's audience really wants, what they want to see. So yeah, coming back to 83, it was difficult because getting along with everyone was very important. And for me, it was a Hindi film, a big Bollywood, 150 crore film. and Ranveer and Amy Virk and Hardy Sandhu and Saqib Salim and all these guys are big actors. They're huge in their own space. So sharing a space with them, Kabir Khan, was not easy. So getting along with them, but also everybody was amazing. I think I got to learn that from all of them. That even Ranveer and all, in spite of being such big stars, they were so secured and they were so comfortable sharing space. And sometimes there were scenes where Ranveer is sitting in the backdrop and some other actor, but I'm just stepping out and going on the field and all. And Ranveer is in out focus, but he would be sitting there and doing exactly what the director has told him to do. And I think that's what matters, being a team player. So I think that team spirit is something I really learned, I got to witness while making this film. And yeah, that's going to stay with me for life. Not easy, but anything else you guys want to ask? What is your biggest fear as a student right now? Whoever, what is your greatest insecurity right now? Sorry? Exam? Did somebody say exam? Oh, you are their biggest fear. Now, what is your biggest insecurity once you're going to step out of this institute? Nobody's insecure, everybody's confident. I like that. You want to ask something? So yeah. Anything you want to ask, don't be embarrassed. It's okay. We all are insecure.
Hello. You were talking about your first movie not being that much of a hit and like it didn't receive that much feedback. So I was just wondering, like, but there might be instances in your career that you might not necessarily receive the same feedback that you expected. So after that, how do you like pick yourself back up, or how do you motivate yourself again to go out and find work, or to continue your career?
That's what I had mentioned. Don't focus on the end result. Focus on the journey. Enjoy the journey, because the result is not in your hands. Focus on what you have in your hands. Focus on what you can control. You can control the journey. You can control enjoying the journey. You can control on making the journey the best so far in your life. Do that. That's the best an artist can do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. So in the movie 83, there was a scene when the ball hits your jaw. So how was that shot was captured?
I think Kabir Khan was standing in front. He had a plastic ball in his hand, and he wanted that cheek to vibrate a little bit because the ball was all created in VFX. The impact and the cut, everything happened in VFX. So I had to just give the expression of an impact, and my cheek had to vibrate. So he took a plastic ball and he was throwing it on my face. That was what was happening, and I was enjoying it. How many have been dropped yet? How many dropped so far? There are 8 total. 8 episodes. 6 have been dropped. Hi. As a director, well, the biggest struggle that you face as a producer is to keep the production in the estimated budget that you have made. Sometimes, due to some unforeseen circumstances or maybe some creative reasons, your budget tends to sometimes go overboard, and then you lose money. And it happens no matter how much you try to control it. So you have a buffer. But yeah, trying to keep your project in the in a tight budget. For that, you need a good team. You need a very good production manager. You need a very good line producer. You need trustworthy people to work with. As a director, I think it's full of challenges. Man. Like for example, Pani, I was directing. It was my first film, and the biggest challenge I faced during Pani was, by the way, it's going to be releasing this year now. Finally, theaters have opened up. Very soon we'll be declaring the release date. But the biggest challenge was I was acting and directing at the same time. So there's a scene where, for example, the physical challenge was, there was a 30 feet well we had dug, so I had to run down. I was shooting down, and the camera was on top, and I used to give my shot, and I used to come running up, check the shot. I used to be not happy, then go back again. I kept doing that the whole day. So that was a physical challenge. But the most challenging part is the emotional fatigue. It's not the physical fatigue. Physical fatigue, you can take electrol, you can take your caffeine, and you can stay up. But an emotional fatigue is, so I could do all these things the whole day, but there was a very emotional scene, which is a pre-climax scene in the film where where the character breaks down. And I had lined up 3 scenes that day, and we shot that scene in the first half, and we did 4-5 takes of that, and it strained me out so much that I just couldn't shoot anymore after that. I just didn't have the mental strength, physical strength to even do anything after that. So we wrapped up early that day. So I think it's the mind it's more important to keep your mind fresh. Yes, sir. Yeah. I do. Pani, the film that I initiated, was written by Nitin Dixit, but the original story concept was my idea. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the pen. Thank you. Yeah. I can hear you. It's okay. Stage fright by going on stage. You gotta jump in the water to swim. Just can't stand on the edge. Learn about swimming. It's like same thing. It's like you guys are doing MBA. How many people are doing MBA here? Okay, business, just mass media, right? Yeah. So it's like I did my MBA, but just because I did my MBA doesn't mean I can start a business. Just because I did an acting course doesn't mean I can start acting. You need it in you, or you just gotta go there and learn on the job. So yeah, stage fright is the same thing. It's the same thing where I said inhibitions, right? An artist needs to lose his inhibitions, and that's when he comes into his real form. So it's a start. So if you know you have stage fright, so there is something that you want to tell, something you want to do, and your first inhibition is that stage fright. You need to break it. So you go on the stage and break it.
And what message would you like to give to the child actors, upcoming child actors?
Upcoming child actors. Child actors are never upcoming. They are child actors. They are there. We become upcoming because child actors are the most natural and the most real actors. They don't know. Like when I was a child actor, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like being myself in front of the camera. I was a kid having fun in front of the camera. My dad was telling me what to do. He was shouting at me when I was playing around. But there's one scene in Masashakula where I'm crying, where I was actually crying because my father scolded me. So I think a child is a child, yeah. It's he or she is the purest form. I think that pureness, that uninhibitedness is something we need to preserve for the rest of our life. If we can do that, or if we can find that, it is something that is remarkable. Yeah.
There is a lot of competition in the film industry, as we all know.
Right.
So when you are offered a role, let be 83 or Chandramukhi, how did you know that you will be able to do justice to that character or that role?
I didn't know whether I'll be able to justice. Again, focus on the journey. Like when I got Chandramukhi, I was so excited. Like, wow, this is like an author back role. I just gave my everything to it. I transformed myself, the physique and everything. The lockdown was on, the gyms were shut, and we used to train. Me and my trainer, we used to go like thieves in the gym, open it, and somebody used to come knocking. We used to hide with a. I think it's just